Thanks for having me, Carissa. I'm a huge fan, and it's an honor to be speaking with folks like April and Ethan. So I'm going to read a column that I wrote that I kind of adapted from a column that I wrote that appeared in the Globe in 2007. And I'm a big beach goer, and here goes. It's about Boston beaches and how they're so much cleaner now than back in the day. When I was a kid growing up in Dorchester, the urban shoreline was neglected by everyone except the people who lived near it. I spent some of the hottest days of my childhood at public beaches in the city. These coarse strips of sand cradled Dorchester Bay like dirty cupped palms, but they had exotic names like Malibu, Tinian Beach, Castle Island. Back then, the city beaches were our summer resorts of last resort, not the type of places you'd send a postcard from. My mother would drag a lounge chair and towel and strategically place it on the gravelly sand. We rarely ventured into the water. It had to be at least 90 degrees out and humid to resort to such drastic measures. The ocean seemed to always smell, there was this smell, and I was trying to think of words to describe it for this column, and I was like, and this kind of nails it. Sweaty gym socks sitting in a rusty locker. Oh. For a really long time. So, if it got hot enough, then sure enough, we'd wade into the water, trying not to touch the bottom, which was always covered with a zillion periwinkles, for some reason. And then you would try to doggy paddle as quickly as you could, with your head up high, so as not to smell the water. But it was refreshing. And we really had a great time. I think back to one humid summer afternoon. It must have been July 1982. I was visiting Carson Beach in Southie with my family, and I was busy collecting small rocks and jagged bits of broken shells, and really eyeing these burned out bottle rockets that had been lit by teenagers the night before. I wasn't allowed to touch those, but I really, really wanted to. But then something interesting caught my eye. There, poking out of the sand, was a faded pink plastic tube. It wasn't bright pink, more of a subtle pale shade. Rays of sun had bleached any brightness out of it. I leaned forward and picked it up. I brought it to my face, looked it over closely, like a professional jeweler inspecting a diamond. The diameter of the tube was much thicker than the skinny red and blue bottle rockets. All I could think was, wow, this must be wicked powerful. So, my mother glances over, and I casually say, "Ma, what kind of firecracker is this?" And she's like, "Emily, put that down!" And so I drop it, and I'm in shock. I look up at my mother, I'm like, "Why?" And she gave a quick answer. "Well, you shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't, just like you shouldn't touch firecrackers." So then I squatted down and examined the mysterious pink tube in the sand. I was like, "I'm not touching it, Ma." Reassuring my mother, who had this look of disbelief on her face, obviously horrified to see her 6-year-old daughter staring at a tampon applicator in the sand. From that point on, whenever I'd see one of those plastic tubes on the beach, I would avoid it at all costs, tiptoeing around them like a landmine in an effort to avoid any type of unexpected explosion. Or worse, another scolding from my mother. And I slowly, or later on, I learned I wasn't the only one finding firecrackers in the sand along the city beaches. These feminine hygiene products even got their own nickname, beach whistles. I didn't make this up. Firecrackers. They were washing up on beaches all along the South Shore during the 1980s. Non-biodegradable tampon applicators became the scourge of politicians, the talk of the town. From Plymouth selectmen to legislators on Beacon Hill. Legislation was filed. Something needed to be done. Playtex hired lobbyists. I'm not making this up. Environmentally conscious artists started designing gowns made of tampon applicators. The Boston Globe ran headlines, "Ban on plastic tampon applicators sought." Started the headlines in the Boston Globe on August 9th, 1984. So this tampon-induced hysteria helped draw attention to the unsanitary conditions in Boston Harbor and the public beaches. And thankfully, the courts eventually stepped in and decided that, hey, you know what? Maybe Boston Harbor should be used like a toilet bowl. The real cause of the problem was addressed a bit later when the courts ordered the city and state to clean up the mess. And here we are today. Today, my friends and I, who grew up in the city, we joke with each other and brag and say that we've been blessed with good health and superhero immune systems because of our youthful swimming adventures and the polluted waters of Boston Harbor and the beaches. You know, God only knows what kind of bacteria we were exposed to, so that's why we never get sick. But now the beaches are much cleaner. I hope I'm not scaring anybody to go to the city beaches, because the whole point of the story is they're so much better. For real. Thanks to you know, the complete overhaul of Boston's sewage treatment system, we no longer dump raw sewage into the harbor, and also because of the treatment plant, tampon applicators and things don't find their way into the harbor waters. So we've spent billions of dollars cleaning up what was known as the filthiest harbor in America. Now the color of the water is no longer that weird, dingy, kind of dark bluish brown. Like, it was just very questionable. That smell is gone. And there's actually people water skiing and windsurfing in Dorchester Bay and by Castle Island. And I haven't seen any tampon applicators / firecrackers wash ashore in years, like practically since then. So, yeah. So I actually went swimming in right by Castle Island and by Carson Beach, right where I found the firecracker last summer and the summer before, and so it was really good. And then I started thinking, and this is what I put in my column that ran in the Globe, you know, that I hope to see that more people know about the beaches, because they are a beautiful place to go, and they're so much better than they were before. And I would love to see souvenirs, postcards, maybe have beach competitions, Wallaston versus Carson Beach and beach volleyball. Tinny Ann takes on Revere Beach at a hula hoop contest. Beach keychains, Wallaston Beach shot glasses, Malibu t-shirts. And postcards that show a guy or a gal wearing a swimsuit and a smirk posing with a surfboard underneath the slogan, "Greetings from Tinny Ann, wish you were here." And the thing is about 100 years ago, they did have postcards like that for Tinny Ann and Malibu and places. So I'm still working on that side project. But yeah, so basically, I hope that the beaches do get that type of publicity, because that's what they deserve, and so much has been invested in them. We shouldn't let them go to waste. That's the end of my story. Actually, the beaches aren't that bad, so please go. And yeah, and like I said, this column appeared in the Globe in 2007, but it still holds true today, and I think I'm the first writer to have in the Globe tampon-induced hysteria. So, that's it.